Hello everyone, I'm FMZ and welcome to Race to the Top. What I have done is I've given two clubs £200 million Newcastle money in Football Manager 2022, and I am going to see who makes it to the Premier League first. Today we're starting with two League 2 clubs, but before we do that, if you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, don't forget to click that notification bell to know when a new video goes up on the channel, and also don't forget to leave me a comment if you've got anything to say or any teams to suggest to try this with. So let's take a look at the two sides I've selected, and we'll start with the first side, which is Leyton Orient. Now what I've done is I've given both sides a reputation boost. They've gone to 8,000 on the reputation scale because that was the point where we could give them the money and it wouldn't affect them financially, and it would actually allow me to do it. So Leyton Orient are the first side. Let's take a look at the next one. And the second side is Harrogate Town. So it's a sort of north-south divide, this one. So what we'll do is we will take a look at what they do transfer-wise at the end of the summer. We'll take a look at the January transfer window and see what they do there. And we'll take a look at their league position along the way before the final look at each season. So let's get started. So taking a look at Leyton Orient first of all for their transfers at the end of the first window. Reece Hutchinson is the only player that they've brought in to the football club, and they didn't pay any money for him, so they haven't used any of the £200 million they've already had. Whereas Harrogate have gone in completely the opposite direction. They've bought 6 players in: Matty Doan, Tony Craig, Benjamin Kimpemba, Jack Vale, Bernat Daly-Campbell and Toto Zenzala. So they've paid a little bit of money for the players that they've bought in at this point in the season. Let's take a look at where they both are in the league table. And currently, Harrogate sit in 7th, Leyton Orient in 8th. Exactly the same record. So it's been a good start to the season for both sides. Moving on to January, and you can see that Leyton Orient have spent a lot of money in the January transfer window. 15 new players into the side. Moving on to the January window, and Leyton Orient have bought in a lot of players, 15 in total. The likes of Adam Forshaw, Dominic Ball, David McGoldrick, obviously with the reputation boost. That has given them a larger scope to bring in better players to attack this challenge with. So yeah, Leyton Orient have done really well in January. Let's see what Harrogate have done. Harrogate have been less busy in the January window, bringing in 7 players. Ben Purrington, Aaron Ramsey on loan from Aston Villa are the big ones. Let's take a look at the league table at this point, where we see at past the halfway point that Leyton Orient are up in 2nd place. Harrogate are in 4th. The O's looking like they might well get promoted at this point. Harrogate are in and around the picture still. And Harrogate have also made a change in the managerial department. John Arnorisa is now the manager of Harrogate Town. Let's take a look at the league table and see where both sides are. So this is the net result of the first season of this, and Leyton Orient and Harrogate were both promoted to League 1. 95 points and 83 respectively. That's a good start from both sides to get out of League 2 straight away into League 1. Let's take a look at what they did in the summer. So Leyton Orient improved on the squad that they had, bringing in the likes of Jerry Yates, Sean Raggett on a free transfer, Josh Murphy, Jaden Baptiste coming in from Brentford as well. So yeah, £3.8 million spent this summer by the O's. Whereas Harrogate, they spent £4.2 million. Jordan Williams coming in from Barnsley, Jerome Sinclair coming in from Peterborough, Elliot Lee coming in on a free transfer as well. So both sides have done really well in the transfer market. But after 4 games in League 1, Leyton Orient have adapted to life there much better than Harrogate have. Leyton Orient up in 2nd, whereas Harrogate are down in 13th. But it's very congested. Obviously, it's very early days in the season, but it's a good start for the O's. So Harrogate haven't made any transfers in the January transfer window, but they have made a change at the top of the club again, where Michael O'Neill is now in charge. John Arnorisa lasted less than a year in charge of the club. Only a few transfers from Leyton Orient, but some big ones. Chris Willock coming in from QPR, Michael Hector coming in from Fulham, and Artur Rubal coming in from Crystal Palace. Look at those transfer fees that they have spent in the January window. They are still on Kenny Jackett, incidentally. Let's take a look at the League One table at this point, where we can see that the O's are currently top of League One, with Sheffield Wednesday level on points with them. Harrogate down in 12th. So they've got a bit of work to do between now and the end of the season. Let's get there and see what happens. So here we are at the end of 22-23 season, and Leyton Orient were promoted to the Championship with 89 points. Harrogate missed out in the playoffs, finishing 6th, but were beaten on their way to Wembley. Blackpool were the side that promoted. So Leyton Orient take the lead. They move up into the Championship. But it wasn't enough to keep Kenny Jackett in a job. Paulo Fonseca has taken over as the manager of Leyton Orient as they make their way into the Championship. And Leyton Orient have added some Championship quality to their side, making the step up. Liam Cooper, obviously a Premier League player at this point. Mateus Borges as well. Up to £24 million they've spent on him. That's a huge outlay for a Championship side. But obviously, with the money we gave them at the start, they're using that really, really well, as they are already up to the Championship. Let's take a look and see what Harrogate did. Harrogate didn't spend a lot of money in the summer. George Long coming in, a couple of loan deals. Ashley Phillips coming on loan from Blackburn as well. So yeah, Harrogate not spending an awful lot, but let's see where they are in the league table currently. And they've had an okay start to the League One season as they try to catch up with Leyton Orient, currently in that last playoff spot where they finished last season. Moving up to the Championship, where Leyton Orient have had a great start to life in the Championship. They are currently 3rd under Paulo Fonseca. Let's move on to January and see where they are there. Another couple of loan deals for Harrogate in January, and another change of manager. So Michael O'Neill left after just under a year. Carls Inglesbrighton is the new manager of Harrogate Town. What about Leyton Orient though? Leyton Orient were a lot busier in January. Josh De Silva's come in, Jamie Shackleton, Yannick Vestergaard, Victor Guraquez. So they've spent a lot of money again in January, and they too have also made a change at the top. Paulo Fonseca lasted 4 months. Steve Bruce is now the manager of Leyton Orient. Let's take a look at where they are in the Championship table though. Table-wise, they are 11th after 29 games. 9 points off the playoffs as it stands at the moment. Will this be the first time that Leyton Orient have not been promoted to complete the challenge in getting to the Premier League? Down in League One, and a problem for Harrogate. They have gone into administration, so they've been deducted 12 points. This is what happens when you stay in a division longer. Obviously, Leyton Orient have not had that problem. They have gone up into the division above. So Harrogate have the handicap of having administration on their side. So they would be up closer to the playoff places, but at the moment they are mid-table and they are probably staying in League One for another season. As to our Leyton Orient, they are staying in the Championship. They were so close. Well, they were 9 points off, actually, come the end of the season. So Leyton Orient's rise up the tables has ended just outside the Championship playoffs. But hopefully they can kick on and go again. Harrogate, with that 12-point deduction, were hamstrung a little bit. So if they had the 12 points back, they'd have finished on 75. So they would have finished outside the playoffs anyway. That hasn't really muddled the experiment that much. Finished 10th, could have finished 7th had the 12-point deduction not landed. So we have reached the end of the summer window at the start of the 24-25 season. There's not a lot of movement from Leyton Orient, but look what they've bought in. So they bought in Matthias Ibre on a free transfer from Porto, Liam Delap from Manchester City on loan, Harvey Elliott from Liverpool on loan, and Anthony Alanga from Manchester United on loan. Those are some very, very good signings for their season in the Championship. Let's take a look at what Harrogate did. Harrogate had a busy summer too, bringing in 7 players in total. Obviously, with them having the financial constraints, they are on the back foot somewhat. Let's see how they've started in League One. Where currently they're up in 2nd after 4 games. So they had a good start to the season as they try to catch up with Leyton Orient, who too have had a great start to the season, currently just outside the playoffs where they finished last season on 7 points. Not too much happened at Harrogate in the January transfer window. Josh Stretton was the only man that came in from Leeds, but they've had another change at the top, where Gareth Ainsworth has taken over. Took over in November from Carl Inglebreston, who lasted less than a year again. So, since Simon Weaver left in December 2021, no manager has made it past the year, and that maybe explains why Harrogate are still in League One, although be it the financial administration penalty they suffered would probably handicap them as well. As for Leyton Orient, they bought in some more players in January. Taylor Harwood-Bellis joined them from Man City. Adam Karabakh did also the same thing, as did Charlie Cresswell. And they've still got Steve Bruce as the manager, as they look for promotion to the Premier League, currently sitting in 3rd place in the Championship, looking good for at least a playoff spot this time around. Harrogate currently sitting 11th, obviously with the managerial change that they made as well. They're looking to push on and hopefully make the playoffs. There's still plenty of time left in the season. Let's get to the end of it and see what happens. So Harrogate sadly finished the season in 15th place. They had a bit of a shocker in the second half of the year. Another change of coach as well. Gareth Ainsworth lasted 166 days. He was sacked at the end of the season. Jonathan Johansson has taken over at Harrogate Town. But I know what you're all wondering. What happened to Leyton Orient? Leyton Orient were agonisingly close to promotion. 2 points off of automatic promotion. And they missed out in the playoffs as well. Fulham taking the prize at Wembley this year, but they are getting ever so close now. 7th, then 3rd. Surely it's 3rd time lucky, right? Another good summer for Harrogate as they try to make their way out of League One still. Carl Darlow coming in, James Collins coming in. He's a great goalkeeper and a good striker at this level as well. As for Leyton Orient, they are laying out more and more money, but they've got in 66 million this summer, with Jamie Shackleton going to PSG. Issa Diop is the biggest transfer. He joined from West Ham as they look to try and make their way to the Premier League. And they've had an okay start to the season, currently down in 9th place, but they've only played 4 games so far. Harrogate, after all their signings, they are currently sitting 3rd in League One, but they started well in the past and have not seen it through. Let's get to January and see what happened, where it's just the 2 signings for Harrogate from January. Even one of those was from September. Will Dennis joined on a free transfer. Mitch Price joined on loan from Middlesbrough. As for Leyton Orient, just a couple of signings for them as well. Joe Murphy joining from Manchester City and Victor Johansson joining from the Portland Timbers. So switching back to Harrogate, they are just outside the League One playoffs on 46 points. Will this be the year they get up into the Championship? As for the O's, round about the same sort of position in the Championship, 49 points. They're just outside the playoffs. Can they do it? Can they get into the playoff places for a second season in a row? It was another season of heartbreak for Harrogate. They missed out on the playoffs by 1 goal. Holy smokes, that is close. Just 1 more goal they needed and they would have made it into the playoffs. And I think they probably would have made it into the Championship. As for Leyton Orient, they did it. They finished 2nd. They got promoted to the Premier League. So it took them 5 years to make it to the promised land. And I think the reason why Leyton Orient got to the Premier League first, they got out of League One first. I know it sounds obvious, believe me, but them getting out of League One at the first attempt enabled them to keep building the platform to get to the Premier League. Yes, Harrogate ran into their problems, but they overcome them and they got so close to getting into the Championship. But alas, Leyton Orient are the winners. So that was Race to the top. If you'd like to see 2 teams take on this challenge, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do and see who will take on this challenge next time around. I'm thinking perhaps we might do a National League version of this and maybe bring the money down to 100 million. It's a work in progress. With Newcastle getting the 200 million pounds to spend, I thought that's a great place to start. That's a good chunk of money, and Leyton Orient used it better than what Harrogate did in the end. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed today's video, please leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel and would like to do so, please hit that subscribe button down in the corner. As I've said, don't forget to leave me a comment if you've got anything to say, or any 2 teams you'd like me to match up and see who makes it to the top. I've been FMZ, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.